Okay, let's go ahead and get into it. Before burnout, there is work fatigue. Work fatigue is chronic job stress that has begun affecting the workers mentally, emotionally, physically, ethically, or spiritually. It often appears before disease fully manifests. That is why workers, when they present to the doctors with real symptoms, and they still leave feeling dismissed, confused, and even unseen. The issue is not always that the doctor has ignored them. Doctors are positioned to diagnose, do medical treatments, and disease management. Workforce care is designed for prevention, assessment, system navigation, work context clarity before stress becomes disease, crises, or workforce loss. I'm Glenée Davis. I am the founder and CEO at Glenae's RX for Life. We are a career burnout consultancy and healthcare education agency where we specialize in workplace mental health, particularly for the Black career women and registered nurses who both have unique issues in the workplace and require specialized knowledge, understanding, and application so that when they take off work, they're able to return to work better. Let's go ahead and get into today's topic. Your anxiety may be real, but is the job the root cause? You know, nurses, we are always looking for the root cause, the stimuli to address that issue in the environment so that healing may occur. Work is no different. Work is no different. So, work related anxiety for Black women and nurses is driven by compounding systemic, cultural, and occupational factors. Can we agree on that? For the Black woman, intersectional stressors like gendered racism, unequal performances, scrutiny actually fuels anxiety for the Black woman in the workplace. For nurses, severe understaffing and emotional trauma cause heavy burnout. Black nurses face dual burdens simultaneously. So they dealing with what everyone else is dealing with, plus the added scrutiny of being a Black woman in the workplace. Systemic and intersectional pressures for Black women, um, gendered racism, which is Black women often navigate work environments with subtle biases and microaggressions that undermine their professional authority. They are often labeled with the strong Black woman, cultural expectations to exhibit high resilience and suppress emotional distress can cause Black women, can keep Black women from seeking even the help that they need, leading them to carry unaddressed chronic stress. Remember, we say chronic stress is any job stress that lasts longer than 6 weeks. And so it remains unaddressed because wherever the Black woman go, she has to deal with this cultural expectation for her to have this resilience and to do the things that no other person will do, and to do it with a smile and to do it silent. So when Black women and any person don't address chronic stress, then they lead to preventable stress related diseases. And so we see Black women obesity, we see Black women with hair fall, we see Black women with cynicism, we see Black women with high blood pressure, kidney failure. All of these are cardiac diseases. These are all chronic stress related diseases. Okay. If we trace it back, we can find where that person was crossed at and what they never decided to address, particularly in the workplace. Okay, because there's no other place where we are dealing with so much pressure. We're not talking about domestic relationships or intimate partner relationships. We're talking about the workplace where you have a set of rules, bylaws, policies, principles, spirits, wickedness in high places that you are absolutely avoiding because of your attachment to work, how you're seen, the processes that take place, the conditions which you are working under. So Black women also have to deal with hyper awareness and code switching, constantly being monitored, um, and also monitoring their tone, their word choice, the way that they speak, the communication. I'm 51 years old. I have been working since I was 12, 13, or something like that. And I can tell you this, there has never been a place I have worked at where my speech wouldn't scrutinize. The way I said a word wasn't, repeated and say that again. Ha 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 ha. I mean, come on. Did you not hear the English words coming out of my mouth? People. And then if we were to say something, if I, particularly me, if I was to say something back, the entire walls of the building would come crumbling down because people would be like, whoa, you don't have to be so rude. Well, were you not? Like, but that's what Black women have to deal with on a constant basis because we do these things in our communication styles to avoid being perceived as aggressive because even when we are assertive, we're labeled as aggressive. And it takes immense cognitive energy to restraint, to manage our own words instead of letting our creativity, letting the way that our spirit wants to say something and for it to be said and valued and understood. We're not speaking English. And then Black women have to worry about this thing called the glass cliff. Black women are disproportionately placed um, in high stake crises driven leadership roles with inadequate support, setting them up for unfair evaluation. That is so true. I can remember when I was working at Children's Hospital and I was the team leader, and I was often bullied there at that place, bullied by the staff. And, I had to talk to the manager about his the white women in there who would white gaze me, to make sure and monitoring what I'm doing. You're not even a registered nurse. Why are you all on my roll? I'm the team leader today, or I'm doing something else. And when I was team leader, people would call in just for the simple fact that they wanted to make my day harder. And we had access to per diem pools. But do you think that my nurse manager pooled anybody to come in to assist? And by the third time that this happened, yes, I recognized patterns that way. I had to ask him what was going on. And when other people call in, they get, the per diem nurse, at least a telephone call to them to ask if they're willing to work that day. But you don't do that for me. And what you're not going to do, Shane, is save the department money off my back. And then I did, this was during the DEI explosion where everybody, like the George Floyd moment, and everyone was, being a little bit more vocal about the workplace. But you have to remember, I've been having workplace issues that impacted my career, my health, my spiritual health, my ethical health, just since 2012. 2012 when I was experiencing workplace discrimination based on a disability that came from a workplace injury. And so I've been speaking up for myself and letting the chips fall where they may. So I've never really had a problem with receiving the consequences for being vocal and speaking up for myself. I do understand why so many other people don't do it, but then I don't understand because nothing but good can come from you speaking up for yourself. Nothing but good can come from that. Nothing but bad consequences can come from you remaining silent, and that silence become violence within yourself. Black people, black women say it all the time to white people: silence is violence, silence is violence. Well, yeah, remaining silent is violence, and that violence is in yourself. It's eternal, and we want to get you to be able to speak up, set these healthy boundaries, or I don't even want to say healthy boundaries, have this standard of operation for yourself in the workplace so that you don't fall for the okey doke, whatever the okey doke might be. So I said the glass cliff: black women are disproportionately placed in high stake, crisis driven leadership roles with inadequate support, setting them up for unfair evaluation. And then for nurses, we have the occupational hazards, which are high acuity workload, staffing shortages, uncompensated emotional labor, hierarchy, and power dynamics. I have a theory on the staffing shortages. What adds to the staffing shortages is not just that nurses are not applying for jobs, is that nurses are going off on FMLA, and something is happening during the 12 weeks where they are not returning to work better. And so we would like to help fix that here at Glenae's Arts for Life. Our workforce care center is set up to make sure that you go into the system fully aware of what it is that your needs are. So let's just talk about the intersection experiences for Black nurses for Black nurses, for when they are experiencing the high acuity workloads, and then they have patient safety concerns. I do believe that short staffing is now recognized as a patient safety concern, which is always at the forefront of our hearts and our minds and our practice, because patients want to know that they are safe. And in order for a patient to be safe in a hospital environment, they must have a well rested, cognitively sharp nurse, registered professional nurse who is continuously assessing, intervening, implementing their care. But when Black women speak up in the workplace, they also experience retaliation fears, tokenism, and isolation. So, retaliation fears: speaking up regarding unsafe working conditions or advocating for equitable patient care often results in Black nurses being unfairly labeled as difficult, making advocacy emotionally unsafe. Tokenism and isolation: experiencing a lack of representation in leadership causes feelings of alienation, leaving many Black nurses without mentors to help them navigate institutional barriers. And that's from the National Institute of Health. Um, you do need a mentor when you face institutional barriers, which is why I'm here for nurses and Black career women, because I have been at those institutional barriers and safely navigated them and have come back to help you do the very same thing so that we can save our profession. Okay. So, my assessment is yes, the workplace is contributing to your anxiety. Sis, you are suffering ineffective workplace coping, leading to tolerance, Cynicism, evidenced by sustained environmental stressors, cultural expectation, manifested by anxiety, fear, palpitations. When nurses apply the nursing process to their workplace environmental situation, we first address the stimuli, remove the stimulus causing the problem. A lot, a lot of your workplace problems are legal ones, veiled as medical ones, confusing you. Instead of taking action, you become passive. And what is one of those famous lines that psychiatry tells their clients? What can you do about it? What can you do about it? You did nothing for this to happen. Well, let me tell you, that's exactly true. You did nothing for this to happen, and you have to do something for it not to happen. You must take action against legal things happening to you. Trespassing on the mind is something that you're not supposed to allow spiritually, biblically, because when you do, you end up in this position, in this situation that's confusing and that leaves you passive and leave you carrying burdens you were not meant to carry. So exposure has to happen. When you connect the work fatigue, knowing what your work fatigue level is absolutely mandatory. We have 5 levels of work fatigue, which are physical, mental, ethical, emotional, and spiritual. When you understand where you are, you know what to do next. Most women and nurses are beyond exhaustion when they're taking their FMLA for workplace mental health, and they don't know what they need. All they know is that they need to get out because they've been getting beat up. Bam, 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 beat up by discrimination, beat up by short staffing, beat up by microaggressions, just beat up. And you've been getting there, sitting there, tolerating it. We don't want you to take a knee. You are in a fight of your life, for your career, and the destination of your soul. We want you to take your legal time out so that you can understand what's happening, so that you can get coached or process or whatever you need to overcome your stressor so that you can move into your promised land. I'm telling you, this is easier done than said. Okay. Like, I wish I had been through it, and I wish I had somebody to just show me and just to tell me so that I can just relax a little bit, because it can be a scary place, but it's even scarier when you don't do the right things that you're supposed to be doing. This is why knowing your work fatigue level is mandatory before taking FMLA, before wasting 12 weeks off work. Most women are not even returning better. I get calls from psychiatric nurse practitioners who know the work that I'm doing, value the work that I'm doing, but they're sending their patients in after they've been tried on 2 or 3 SSRIs and maybe even an antipsychotic, based off of the things that you were saying to them while you are under their care for FMLA time off. And let me tell you, 12 weeks is not enough to metabolize those medications and get back to your high acuity job. It's gonna mess a lot of you up. It messed me up. Baby, I could have walked into an 18 wheeler and not felt a thing. I wanted to feel something, but that's just how messed up it had me. And this is how I was going to teach patients who just got a lung transplant. I'm the coordinator, I'm the lung transplant coordinator, and I'm teaching people who just got a brand new lung how to take care of themselves. Felt like such a fraud. I didn't even know how to take care of myself. So we want to correct that for you, because you are never in a position to tell somebody what to do when you're not doing it for yourself. That is a bad position to be in, and I would not want a nurse who could not defend themselves advocating for me. Uh-uh. You can go. If you want to take time off, do it with a plan. Please do it with a plan, a sound plan, so that you're able to return to work, whether it's that job or not, another job. But you want to be able to return off your FMLA leave empowered, rested, restored, and advanced, not disadvantaged. If you heard any of the things that I'm saying to you today, and you are in a position at work where you have been dealing with workplace stress that has been lasting you longer than 6 weeks, take our work fatigue quiz. Let me see if I can share this with you. Hold on. Let me see if I can share my screen. Hmm. Excuse me. Nope, I'll get better. Until next time, be well. Bye.